Hi, I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where I break down all the goals scored in the Premier League. I don't care what colour the shirt is, I say it as I see it. There's no bias in any opinions here whatsoever. That's one of the hardest things if you want to do football analysis or actually look at things critically as a human being. My over 20 plus years coaching experience has taught me many things, and one of the most important things, especially if you want to have a rational opinion, is you've got to take out that fan bias. And we don't have any of that here. Go somewhere else and look at one of those idiot fan channels that will say, Arteta out or Ten Hag out. That's not what we do here. We're more about breaking down stuff so you can learn about the footballs. So I watched a little bit of this Brentford Man United game. United are just making some of the similar mistakes that they were making, got punished for even though they ended up winning the FA Cup game against Liverpool. They're still trying to do the similar sort of thing, and basically that is do nothing, defend and try to do something with their key players. And it's not working very well. And one of the other things I wanted to talk about was Mason Mount coming back into the side, because I'm all about slagging off players and managers when they're actually doing terrible. But the problem with Mason Mount is you can't get into that sort of habit of slagging off players that aren't actually playing the game just because they're terrible before they get injured. You've got to give them an ability to be able to defend themselves, and the way they defend themselves is by playing the game of football. So when players are injured, you just are generally trying to back off them, because there's a lot of bias there that goes, they're injured and they had really two bad last games, and you just and that gets in your head. And that's one of the key things I'm trying to get across here, is don't let biases get into your head when you're coming along making decisions or you're saying what you see. And that's what we're doing here. We're saying what we see and we're explaining it with all of the context that we know. So what we're going to look at right here, though, this is interesting. Can you see this pocket of space that's appeared here? Right, there we go, bosh. Where there's no player. We should have one Brentford player about there. But they've kind of got pulled out, right, and suckered away. So these two have found a little gap. And this is important here, this little gap that happens. Because watch what happens when the ball gets played in. Now the ball's played in, we've got 3 United players, basically, and no Brentford players able to challenge them. So then what happens in football is the panic ensues, especially because it's late on in the game. And when the panic ensues, people start making stupid decisions. And that's what ends up happening here. Let's just move this on a bit. He starts panicking for the ball. There's also another bit here where this guy's reacting, either maybe to cut the pass out or thinking that this guy's going to win it and they're going to go on the counter. But he's clearly leaving this guy here exposed a little bit too quick. He's off on his heels already. And I don't like that. I like to have the possession before you go. Actually, depends if I'm coaching and I know we're going to win the ball. I'm yelling at you to get further forward. So that's a bit of an oxymoron there. But as it goes here, this guy's dived in and because he's rationally challenging for the ball because they're panicking about that little pocket of space that's opened up, which they still haven't dealt with. And this is really important. Like, as a coach on the sideline, you should be absolutely spotting that and hoping that hoping your players are listening to you so you can close that gap. And then all of a sudden what ends up happening is this guy's rationally dived in. He's gone to the ground looking for a free kick. They're all looking for free kicks here, which is awful. I'm happy they don't get one and they get a goal. They get rewarded from keeping on playing football instead of the referee blowing his whistle, which is much better. Now, the next guy goes and dives in as well because he's panicking because, well, look, the United players are still outnumbering the Brentford players and this guy's still gone on a walkabout. This guy's been stood there the whole time and we still have the 3 over here that are just watching this play develop and happen. And the reason why all this is important is because all said and done, you still end up with 2 United players against 1 Brentford player after this guy's taking this guy out over here on the ground. And those 2 players that were free here, they're not the same 2 that are free over here now, but because of the overload of numbers in the middle of the park and no one came to help, you can see that they end up overloading this one side and now they can 2v1 and slot the ball into the goal. And it all comes from this little pocket of space here, right? Just where there's no extra Brentford player. So it's if you ever play those little games where you've got a puzzle to make and you've got to slide the little piece, the square pieces over to make the piece of the puzzle, that's exactly what football's like. So when you've got a mistake and there's a puzzle piece missing here and they start sliding over, it slides from this side here, the space slides from here, dunk, 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 space goes to here, dunk, 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 and then it goes to here. And the Brentford player, there was no one here, and then there was 2 in this space, and then that means there's nobody in this space. And that's exactly what's happened. The space has moved from here to there because they're panicked in this one here. And that's what's gone on here. Bosh, as it comes out, and he just slaps it into the corner. Simple simples. Let's get on to the next goal. This comes down to a lack of professionalism on United's side of being able to see out the game. And I've obviously looked at all the United games this season, and they've got this massive problem, and it's confidence. Well, not just confidence, it's not knowing what they're supposed to do. I'm going to show you now. If you've ever played on a Sunday League side, or like, the reason I'm using Sunday League is because you can get run over in Sunday League by like 12 goals, And when the goals start going in, defenders start doing this trait that United defenders are doing. When I point it out, if you either played in those games and you've seen them, you go, oh, yeah, that happens all the time when you're getting a right kick in. So Brentford just put a really bad up and under in, kicks it up and under, off he goes, old rugby term, trying to get to the ball over here. And when the ball lands in the box, there's no one really challenging for it. The Brentford player gets to take, again, look at the pocket of space that he's made. These United players have pushed up too quickly. These haven't got over quick enough. By the way, these two are right next to each other here. He's just got there. They're looking for the offsides. They're not really playing it properly. He's got time. He's taking the ball down. And now it just turns into a complete and utter disaster. You've got 1, 2, 3 United players here. Remember, this is what professionalism is. You're winning 1-0. It's coming to the dying minutes of the game. You get back, all hands to the pump, and you defend. You get the ball out, and you deal with it. You do not stand up here. You do not wait for us to win the ball. You have to go and win the ball for your team. Okay? So when this comes down here, they have a little bit of a similar to what was happening on the Brentford side when they're all over committing and over panicking. The reason why you want these 3 players to come back is this reason here. All right? Look at what's happening already on the back post. You can already see it developing. As soon as it's happening, just like those Brentford players all overcommitted on the one side, all the United players are now overcommitting on this side. Now, here's the other thing I want you to keep an eye on. When we move this forward ever so slowly, look at this back 4 line here and look at where they end up defending. Remember, body shape is one of the main things I'm always talking about. Look where all these players are looking. They're all looking this way. No one is paying any attention to the people back here. Look how lazy this kiddie is here. You need to be sprinting back in and dealing with this right now. And if you're a manager or a coach and you're on the sideline and you're not yelling at this guy to get back in here, you shouldn't be coaching football because they're about to get overwhelmed down here. Look, there's 1 United player, 3 Brentford players. Maybe you can have this United player in, but he wants to clearly get over here and get involved. Remember, they have enough players around the ball here, but they don't deal with it. And they just get beaten. Now look at this again. Look, they've all moved on. Do you see that straight line? And this is the thing I'm going to come on to you about. I was talking about when you're getting a kick in and you've got no confidence. Watch how deep these players end up going back. Okay? Watch. As this ball gets played, look where they are. They're so far back. They've opened up this massive pocket of space. Look at them. Look at how deep that this line has gone. Doom, 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 doom. All chasing the ball. And they've left this huge, huge pocket of space right here. Don't worry, he's still walking, doing nothing, and so is the other 2 players. And that's what I'm talking about. If this player jogged back, and he might have been here, he could have come back in and, fouled the guy, done anything, done something. But he didn't. He did absolutely nothing. And this guy just ends up completely free in the net box, and he just passes it into the net box. Look, right here, there's 2 players almost in the keeper's way. They've gone that far back defensively. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 United players almost back behind the 6-yard line. Not him. Okay, we'll say 6. And no one in the middle of the goal defending the middle. You know the middle. You know where you score the goals. You know where this thing is called the net box. No one is here in the middle defending at all for United. Shocking. It's not going to be the last time they get done like that. Other than that, I'll see you next time on Cash Talks Football.